If anyone is allowed to dress up as Spider-Man as an adult, it's this guy. And if there's one message to take away from this video,
it's don't look down.
We all know that the greatest cliffhanger of all time was Stallone. However, there's an area of YouTube where these climbers are becoming mainstream YouTubers, and it's highly interesting. And there's a massive scope for investigating physical capabilities, qualities, and exercise science in relation to their videos.
It's a dynamic move, but not a dyno. And there are of course many ways to work this move, but I'm gonna show you one pull-up variation that I think is good. You reach as high as you can with one hand, and make sure that you don't fall back on a straight arm, because that could be very bad for your shoulders.
Welcome to the Let's Have a Chat playlist, where my intention is to raise interesting issues for discussion within this community. And this one is a mountain to climb, a mountain of information. That's enough of that. Magnus schooled by professional crack climber. No comment. And so one area you may want to comment about immediately is grip strength. And he has many videos involving grip strength. For example, this one versus an MMA fighter. And for a rock climber, it's obvious where grip strength comes into play. For MMA, it can be grappling and other martial arts disciplines. And so it's interesting to see these different types of videos. Guinness World Record attempt, the one-fingered deadlift.
Yes. You're in business.
Okay, now we know for sure that this is...
Yeah, that's definitely over.
Would be the world record. Alright, hoping for a miracle.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, you got it. Come on. Come on.
This one is gone.
Yeah. Come on. Come on.
That gives a whole new meaning to giving the middle finger. And the one finger pull-up is something he also does frequently on the channel. And so this is an idea you may consider, grip strength. Perhaps it's undervalued in the fitness industry. How does it transfer to other disciplines? How may you train it, for example? And the main focus of this video is me showing you his training for his mountain climbing, and grip strength exercises, or what he calls finger strength, also are a key part of this. Training with the world's strongest woman. I have a recent video involving Steffi Cohen and the six-pack, and thank you so much for your interaction in that video. And that video is within this playlist. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for watching the last video. That was fun. World's strongest arms versus rock climbing, and an appearance from McLovin over there. And so he does these Ninja Warrior videos incorrect. When it comes to climbing Ninja Warriors, there's only one. Danny Glover from Predator 2 climbs down a drain pipe, does a splinter cell, and cuts a predator in half with a frisbee. Do better, Magnus. Magnus, I have no chance of saying his surname correctly, is of course a great athlete. And even just the indoor climbing work demonstrates how impressive this discipline is and all the attributes involved. For example, the different types of strength, and that I've talked about grip strength already. Also the upper body, the lower body strength. You have the mobility of movement. You have the flexibility. There's so much that goes into this, and it's highly impressive. The Pablo Escobar pre-workout is also clearly working. And so what I'm interested with any discipline really is transferability. How does performing and training in one area translate to other physical challenges? And you can think about how you train and how that translates to other physical challenges. And in the case of mountain climbing, how that may translate. But let's start with a reversal. What about people who train other disciplines coming to climbing? And he has many videos like this, for example, with Steffi Cohen.
Yeah.
There you go. Find your right foot. Right there. Ooh, nice. Oh, shit.
Holy crap!
He has Juji and Tom.
Yeah! Oh, I touched the baby, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. You can touch it as long as you don't.
He has a professional arm wrestler, and it's interesting to see how their disciplines help them when it comes to climbing.
I climb like very rarely. I'm super specialized.
Okay.
I'm pro arm wrestler, so
Yeah.
same kind of muscles, but completely different.
Right. Two, yeah. Okay.
1v2, yeah.
Is a bodybuilder too heavy to dyno? The gyno joke there was too easy. And instantly we can see how people who are elite in another discipline, people who train to a high level, how of course that does give crossover to when they are trying the climbing. Of course they have a level of strength, they have athletic capabilities, physical qualities, and a quick insight into Magnus's mind when it comes to his training before we go through his training video. Almost every climber has seen your YouTube video where it looks like you turn off gravity on the campus board. What are some beginner exercises you started with to help develop that crazy strength? Upper arm strength always came easy to me. I started doing one arm lock-offs, working my way up to being able to do a one arm pull-up. That was my first goal. After being able to do a one arm, I started focusing more on dynamic strength, such as double dynos on biggest holds. Red Bull taught me that a double dyno is when the climber makes a dynamic movement that uses momentum to get to the next hold. Juji was trying one here. And here's Magnus doing one. Basically, it involves when you're climbing to let go of the surface and jump to a higher bit. Whoever invented that clearly did not see old age. And so the focus of this video is to see how he trains, not his specific climbing training, but his gym work, if you like, to help prepare him for this.
I like to use a half crimp. Unless I'm training for something like pockets, then I would use an open hand. And I always try to avoid full crimp when I'm training.
The cramp jokes are at the ready. And so it's interesting to see how he uses many exercise variations for his finger strength, his grip strength.
By doing 6-second hangs, 4 on each side with 4-minute rest. There is definitely a high risk of getting injured hangboarding, so I don't recommend this for anyone who hasn't climbed for a while or who is still growing. But you guys obviously know how to do pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, muscle-ups, all that stuff, and that's obviously great for climbing, but I'm gonna focus on some exercises that you maybe didn't know of or you didn't know was good for climbing. This first one helps you stay close to the wall. You want the bench to be a little bit higher than I have it here.
He says his range of motion here is not great and that he would normally use a higher bench, and so that's a critique we can think about.
I found 70 kilos to be the right weight for me.
And so the side by side here is good because again it allows us to visually think of the concept of what we're doing in the gym transferring to that athletic pursuit.
Let's pull the boulder back up and see it next to the exercise to see if it really looks similar. I guess the first move is more about power in your legs, and then it's about coordination.
And with the exercise he's performing, of course, there's a transverse plane motion, the twisting, and that will bring the obliques into play. And you can say that in isolation, of course, this exercise is not going to be the only thing that leads him to performing those explosive dynos. Of course, there may be plyometric exercises he may introduce, for example, and I'm sure he does them. This is just one video. But instantly, it's interesting to think about the sort of exercise selection he may choose to help him with his climbing. Then he has the finger curls, the wrist curls, the finger and grip work here, the forearm work.
That's that you can do at the gym. So for this one, I keep my fingers flat to work a different type of finger strength.
And interestingly, with this exercise, he talks about not performing to max reps. And by max reps, he's talking about training to failure or close to failure, for example.
And make sure that you don't fall back on a straight arm, because that could be very bad for your shoulders. And here I wouldn't go for max reps. I'm gonna get too tired and the quality of my next set is gonna drop too much. So 3 or 4 on each side is a good amount for me.
And focusing on the quality and the performance of the repetitions. And I say that all the time on this channel, specifically in relation to plyometrics and training for athletic performance. Focus on performance, not for fatigue. And I talked about that in the Machine Gun Kelly video where he performs ballistic exercises, for example.
What you should focus on is getting as high as you can every time.
And then we have front levers and other exercises he goes into.
One thing that I like about dips is that no matter how hard I push it, I still don't feel too sore to climb the next day.
But I think what I've showed you gives you a fair idea of some of the things that he's doing, and that should raise questions in your mind. So the most important thing is your input down below. I'm James Linker, Shredder Sports Science. I'll see you soon.